Day two. We're out here this morning. Got us a good night's rest. We've already done the ABCs or the T clocks, depending on which list you're going off of. They're essentially the same, just the T clock's more detailed. Still working on the clutch and the friction zone. We're gonna keep working on the skills that we was learning yesterday and just build up from there. And again, guys, I appreciate you tuning into Heartland Dual Sport. We're gonna go over and ride in some different areas today. Here in a minute, my wife's looking for my gloves. We're gonna go work on some figure eights, and then we're gonna work on balance, counterbalance, and if I can find some hills over here, we're gonna work on some hills, stalling the vehicle up a hill and what to do and that type of stuff. So we got a great lesson planned for today. So thanks for joining in, and let's go ride. We're gonna play a little game of follow the leader, kind of mix it up a little bit. He feels like he's having a little bit of trouble turning right, so we're gonna mix this up. You can see I've got the tennis balls out, and we're gonna look through our turning right, nice and tight. I'm just gonna weave in and out of these cones, making nice easy turns. Did you kill it?
I got too close to the curb.
Why?
Scared me.
It's because you keep looking at the curb. Don't look at the curb. You're gonna go where you're looking. Look at me. Look over your shoulder when you're turning. On these tight turns, the further back you look or the further into the turn you look, the better you're gonna be. So just relax. We're still working on our balance and just turning, but you've got to look where you're going. There it goes. He got it that time. He's got it. He's doing really good. That's what we're working on. Feathering your clutch, modulating your throttle speed, and he's doing really good. He's just being hard on himself. There's a lot to think about when you're riding a bike, and these adding a few more turns in, it's going to help him working on his clutch, his balance, his eye coordination, and staying focused on what he's supposed to be looking at. He's keeping his elbows up, his head's up, he's looking where he wants to go. I told him I was going to start smacking him upside the head every time he looks down. So guys, if you're teaching your wife, don't smack him. You can see he's starting to lean his bike a little more. He's getting more comfortable on it, leaning it. And this is generally where some of the mistakes come in, so we'll keep an eye on him, keep the speed slow, so that way he doesn't hurt himself or hurt his bike, but more than the bike, because all that stuff's replaceable. We don't want him getting hurt, but he's doing really good now. Next thing that we're going to work on is braking. Austin's getting a little dizzy. He's ready to do something besides figure eights, and we've been working on this for about an hour, so I'm good with that. And next thing that we're going to work on is braking, and I've got the cones already set up. We're going to work on going straight down the path here, and when he gets to the end cone, he's going to start off using his rear brake. Your rear brake will help you slow down, but you'll find out after you do this a few runs, we're going to start adding in the front brake, and then we're going to measure the distance. You're going to get 70% of your stopping power from your front brake. We're going to start out with the rear brake so that the rider can kind of get the feel of how the rear brake's going to stop them and slow them down. And then when we move over to the front brake, and using both brakes combined, it's just like everything else we've done so far. You're not going to grab that brake and just slam on it. A lot of people are fearful that they're going to do an endo and flip over, and in some cases that could happen. We're not going to be going fast enough for that to happen. So at the very most, he could maybe skid the tire and then the front end wash out from under him and fall over. But again, we're not going that fast. But this is, you want to learn at a slow pace and at your pace. And you're going to learn that your front brake, you can just squeeze it nice and gradual. These aren't brakes from, you know, the 40s or 50s. These brakes actually work pretty good and they're pretty effective. And just like in your car when you're driving, you don't stomp on the brakes as hard as you can, because you're going to create more problems than slowing down itself. We're working on braking right now, and I'm told him to come in at about 10 miles an hour, and when he gets to this second or this last set of tennis balls, that's where he's going to start applying the rear brake. You can tell if your rider's actually looking up and ahead, if they can stay in between the cones, or if they start veering off, they're obviously not looking ahead. You don't always get everything on video, but I want to show you something real quick. See the skid mark? And you can see a little bitty scratch right here and right there. It's going to happen, guys. You're going to fall over. You're going to accidentally grab the wrong brake, and that's what happened. He grabbed his front brake, the front end washed out, and when he did grab the front brake, he also gassed it at the same time, which made the front end wash out worse. Fell over. Tusk engine guards paid off today. He's going to work on his rear brake. Good job. Go down here and circle around and do it again. Tusk engine guards paid off for him today. See, he's getting up in his cradle, still hanging on with his knees. He's doing really good. He just locked up his rear wheel, slid a little bit, and he could feel it. And we're going to try to do it again without locking up the rear wheel this time. And good thing was he locked up the rear wheel. He felt it sliding. He didn't panic. He just kept his eyes up and rode it on out. And that's what you're going to want to do, because from time to time, depending on the surfaces, you may actually be sliding your rear wheel some. Just don't panic and keep your eyes up and keep aimed where you want to go. He let off the gas a little bit before he got to the tennis ball, so I'm going to have him do it again. He needs to get a little bit of this out of his system and feel some wind on him, so I'll let him do that. And again, guys, we're on a city street, so we're not going to be going over 25 miles an hour on this little brake test anyhow, because that's the speed limit. And just working on kind of comparing the brakes. If you guys haven't noticed, we got the FlatLands Racing Radiator guards on the DRZ 14. If you'll click up above, there's actually an install video on this. It's probably the best set of radiator guards the money could buy, and I would strongly suggest you look at them. Thanks to Woodsman for turning us on to FlatLands Racing. He keeps turning left, and I know he's turning left stronger than he is right-handed, so we're going to do this where he's making right-hand turns before he comes into this. That's it's a mental block for him right now, but we'll get him past it. Just keep doing what you're doing gradually, and don't overwhelm your rider. Yeah, you're good. We'll do this a little bit longer, then I'm going to have him work on his front brake, and then we're going to go back to the house, take a break, maybe eat a bite for lunch, and talk about everything, and get geared up for standing up. Remember, we're working on standing up now. You're going to, when you stand up, you're going to kind of get in a wrestling stance. Your legs are going to be shock absorbers, as well as your arms. You're going to stand up, put your knees in. You're going to squeeze your bike with your knees. You're going to go straight down. You're going to turn, sit down before you turn, and then come back and stand up coming back. Same thing. No. stand up, sit down before you turn. We don't want to overdo it, and we'll do figure eights before we do full turn stand. Okay, we started out with going down the straightaway, standing up, and we're working now on using your feet to kind of help steer you. He's doing really good at this. He's figured out real quick that by putting your feet on the foot pegs and standing up, you're actually going to get a lot more of your weight down, because it's going to lower your center of gravity down to the foot pegs. A lot of people think your center of gravity would be up higher, but it's not. The standing up and turning is actually a lot of times easier for people than sitting down is. So he's doing real good. It's looking where he's supposed to go. We'll go up here and talk to him a little bit. Needs his knees bent just a little bit more. Here's a fun thing that we do that Heartland Dual Sport Basic Rider Camp. What was it you just said a minute ago? I can't? Okay, and what do we do with I can'ts?
Roll it up and throw it away.
Yeah, roll it up in a ball and we're going to throw it away because we cans. There's no can'ts. We got a bunch of cans, no can'ts. Besides that, if you think about it, we can collect all these cans, take them to the recycler, and get some cash out of that. We can't get nothing with can'ts. All right, hop on, dude. You're doing great. We got the lovely bride out here at the other end of the field today, taking photos for Instagram and Facebook. If you guys aren't following us on Instagram or Facebook, I'd like to invite you to do that. We try to post pictures of upcoming videos or maybe surprises and different things on Instagram and Facebook both, and I'd like to encourage you to subscribe. Sorry about the heavy breathing. I've been riding and showing him some stuff, so look at this. Doing really good. Look at that. It's alright. He almost got it started too while he's still standing up, so good for him. Good job. We're still working on balance, and you got a greater balance standing on the bike. What I like to do when I'm teaching somebody, I like to tell them and then show them and then let them do it. So a lot of the stuff that you're not seeing behind the scenes is I'll explain everything that we're going to do, and then I also do it and show him it can be done, and that really helps build confidence in your student that you can do what you're asking them to do by showing them how to do it and how it's done. I know I had a lot of instructors throughout school and different phases of my life that would explain something to you and ask you to do something that I was 99% sure that they couldn't actually do. So what I like to do is I like to show them it can be done. We don't do can'ts. We just do a bunch of cans. And again, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Heartland Dual Sport. As always, we appreciate your likes, comments, and subscribes. If you know anybody that's new to riding, maybe they could pick up a few of these tips, or maybe you've been riding for a while and this is some stuff that you want to practice on, because even an experienced rider, riding is a perishable skill, just like shooting. And if you don't practice, it's a perishable skill that can be lost. And share this video with some folks. If you don't mind, I would greatly appreciate all the shares and comments. And if you guys would like a printout of this little outline that I'm using to teach Austin, I've got an entire outline, exactly step by step what to do and what we're working on. These, it'll actually be 3 days of training based on hours. Thanks again for all your comments, likes, and subscribes. Thanks for tuning in to Heartland Dual Sport, and I hope, if nothing else, this will help some other riders gain the confidence they need to get out and ride and enjoy this sport of dual sport. And may you all have a blessed week. Your bike up
So you
over
want to
here
shift your weight forward,
on this
have
side,
your gas on
and then
before
you're
you
going
hit
to
the hill,
start
just coming
doing your
up and
turn.
over.